Hi guys, welcome to my channel, Ask Elijah. I'm Elijah Matthew and we will be starting with this series of course on Python. Alright, let's begin with the installation and also the first steps on writing your first program. Of course, there'll be series of concepts as we go ahead, a lot of practice problems and things which we will upload from time to time. Stay tuned. Starting with Python, let's go on to the first thing that we start off with, python.org. Coming to python.org, that's where you can download your Python version, and that's more than it sufficient for any particular OS that you're using, whether it is Windows, whether it's Mac, whether it's Linux. So I'm now using a Windows machine. Just download the Python 3.7.2. All right, so if I download that, you will get an exe which is there, right? It gets downloaded, and once that is done, all you have to do is run the executable which gets downloaded. So I'm going to go to that particular folder in a second. But before we do that, okay, while it gets downloaded, you can have a look at the documentation. Here at the documentation, anytime when I say go to the documentation, it means go to python.org, go to the documentation, and you can go for Python 3.x docs. Now, Python, there are two versions of Python, that is Python 2 and Python 3, right? Well, because the projects, many of the older projects in different setup, different organizations have been on Python 2, there's a lot of backup support for Python 2 if you would go for a lot of support which comes online for Python 2. But Python going ahead is going to support Python 3, and a lot of organizations have moved from Python 2 to Python 3. A lot of libraries are being built on Python 3, and going ahead, maybe Python might stop Python 2 but support Python 3. Hence, it is ideal for us to start with Python 3, knowing the differences of Python 2. Many a times, if you're working on Python 2 projects, it is of course, there's a huge difference with a change in syntax. They are not forward compatible completely, right? Anyway, let's start with Python 3, and here are the documentation for it, Python 3.x docs. You can start up with that, and then of course you have the executable which has got downloaded here. I'm going to start with that, and as you see, it says upgrade to Python 3.7.2 because I already have Python 3.5. Okay, yeah, you can click on upgrade now. Now, there are some more things that you need to, so it says replaces your existing installation, but for you guys, if you do not have Python, it will say install now. Now, there is one more thing that you need to keep in mind, is there will be an option at the bottom here at this particular point, which I do not have now, but if you're installing it for the first time, it will say add Python to path. Okay, add Python 3.5 to path. Please include that. Please ensure that you have checked that so that you can use anytime from the command line to run Python. That's it. It's very easy. Go forward to the next steps, install, and that's done. Okay, for now I'm going to cancel this. Yes, of course, because I'm doing the Python 3.5. I have a few projects built on that, so I prefer that for now. If you use Python 3.7, nothing like it, of course you can upgrade, right? All right, now coming to after the installation, after everything is done, you can just open the command prompt, go to the Windows, go to CMD, say enter, and over here all I have to do is type Python. Because I have checked mark the add Python to path, because of that, when I say Python, it says here, yeah, Python 3.5.4. That's the version that I'm using. Of course, if you have installed the latest version, it will be Python 3.7, which will be seen here. Now, as you can see, this is the Python, this is the Python place where it starts up with over there. And then, of course, you can have the instructions as and when you want to do. Python can be used for very simple calculations, just as simple as this. Let's say 3 into 5. That's it. 8 divided by 4. That's 2.0. 7 plus 8 minus 9 multiplied by 24, whatever, blah, blah. That's minus 201. Of course, we are going to learn more about arithmetic operations, how it is being done, and so on in the further videos. Okay, so Python can be used for minimal calculations, but as you can see over here, Anything that you write, let's say for example, when I wrote 7 plus 8 and I said an enter, the output came immediately up. Python is an interpreted language. It is an interpreted language, meaning it is going to be run line by line. Of course, what does it mean? It is not a language where you write an entire program, it compiles the entire program, gives you the list of compilation errors. No, Python does not do that. Python compiles a line and runs the same line and then goes on to the next line. So even if you have a big program and if you're running the entire Python program as a whole, what will happen is it is going to run the first line, it is going to compile it, run it, go to the next line, compile it, run it, next line, compile it, run it. So let's say if you have made a syntax error or an error in basically the Python programming construct in the particular words, if you have made any error, let's say in the 5th line, it won't be seen in the normal execution. Okay, if there is an error, there are certain errors which is caught in the starting itself by the editor. But then if you're doing in the start, if the first 3 lines are correct, those 3 lines will be executed, and then in the 4th line an error will be thrown to you. It is an interpreted language. It is not a language where the entire thing gets compiled and then it runs. So here the compilation errors and the runtime errors happen simultaneously. Is that understood? All right, going ahead. Okay, in Python, of course, the first basic program that we all do in any other programming language, and of course we're going to start off with Python, is telling the computer or programming the computer to print something onto the screen. Why is this the most basic program? Because any program that you write, let it be any calculation, let it be anything that you want to do, henceforth in any of the programs, what you will have to do is print something onto the screen. As simple as that. Okay, you want to print an output, you want to print some data, you want to get some, you want to print something in a good fashion, or and so on. Whatever you want to do, the first thing that you would do is print something onto the screen. So you would want to, let's say for example, you have done a complex operation, and then you want to figure out, after doing a complex operation, mathematical operation, you want to figure out how to see the answer on the screen. So the first thing that you would want to do is print something. So let's learn the first thing, that is printing hello world, right? Of course, going to the documentation, we're going to do that in the next tutorial or in the next video. But for now, printing hello world is as simple as just writing print. Okay, start with a bracket, which is round bracket, and say hello world. Print hello world. Can you see? I have put them in a string. Print hello world. Of course, why in double quotes, why it's a string and stuff like that, we're going to come to that in the next tutorial when we start with variables. Of course, for now, this is as simple as printing something. Let's say if I wanted to print a simple number, I would have said print 8 and said enter. Okay, forgetting about the lot of nomenclatures which were there in Java, C, C++, there was a lot of syntax there where you had to import a few things, then you had to write a lot of things like, you know, stdio and stuff like that, standard, and then go ahead for the printing and stuff like that. All that, it's not required when it comes to Python. It's as simple as talking in English. Okay, you want to print something, use the print function, the print built-in function, as I call it. Of course, we'll go ahead with more about that in the upcoming tutorials. All right, so this is about Python, of course, but this is very lame. I'm not going to use Python always like this, right? I'm not going to have one line. I'm going to have a block of code written, and that code is going to be written completely in a particular editor. Which editor am I going to use? You can use a notepad. As simple as a notepad, and then get it done. We are going to do that. So if you're comfortable with doing a notepad, I'm going to show you how you're going to run this. But first, in the command prompt, you have entered the Python environment, as you can see, right? You have entered the Python environment, and now from the Python environment, if you want to come out of that Python environment, you need to say exit, or you can say Control D. So exit, bracket, enter. Now you can see on my command prompt, it's there. What is it? C:\users. You have come back outside. Okay, only when you write Python and say enter, that's when you enter inside the Python, or you exit out of it. Control D or exit function. You exit out the Python. Now, I want to write a Python code. I want to save it as a file where in a notepad or something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my desktop, And I've created a folder called as recordings, or let me just rename it as Python recordings, which I'm going to use multiple times throughout this particular course, right? I'm going to copy, I'm going to save all my files in here, and anytime I want to do anything, I'm going to put my files out here. All Python files have to be saved with an extension called as .py. So I'm going to create a new file here. Okay, so let me say I'm going to create a new, I want to create a new file. So before I do that, okay, I can create a new file out here. Let's say, yeah, let me call it as a text document for now. Okay, or before this, do one thing. I'll just delete this. Let me go on to Notepad. Let me open Notepad out here. It's as simple as opening up Notepad. I'm going to save this. I'm going to do a save as. Go to my D. Where is my desktop? Sorry, desktop, and then I go to my Python recordings. Over here, I'm not going to store it as a text document. Say all files. And I'm going to say over here, whatever Python file you want to say. Let me say first file .py. First.py. .py is very essential for a Python file. Okay, and it should be all files. It should not be a text file. Just save it as it is. Save it. Now, when I save that, all I have to do is what? Let me just print. Instead of hello world, I'm going to print here. This is my first Python file. Okay, file is also called as a script, by the way. Python script, or Python has one more jargon for calling a file. It's called as a module. So this is my first Python file, or my first Python script. A script consists of just more than one line. It consists of many lines, or it is also in Python language, it is called as a module. So this is my first Python file or script or module. Save it, Control S. Remember to save it, or this it won't run. Come back to my command prompt. Come back to my command prompt. Now, where is my file staying? Where is my file there? Where is my file? My file is there in desktop, and in desktop there is a particular folder called as Python recording. So I need to go to my folder on my CMD. Okay, so I need to go to my folder in my CMD. So I need to say cd space. Let me go to cd and let me go to desktop. That means I am changing my directory to desktop. In desktop, I'm going to my Python recordings. Say enter. And once I go to my Python recordings, all I have to do is what? What do I need to do? Well, all I have to do is run Python space, whatever is the Python file name. What is the name of the file? The name of the file is first.py. Say enter. Can you see it's printed out there? This is my first Python file or script or module. Hooray! That's done. So this is how you can print on a notepad. Get your Python file run there, .py, and run it from your command prompt. This is how you can do it with a notepad. But now, this is not the editor that I'm going to use. I'm not comfortable with every time going to a notepad. So the editor that I'm going to use, which you can download, it's a free software which you're going to use. You might have already used that before, and that's called as a Sublime Text. You can just download Sublime Text, a sophisticated text editor. Just download it for your particular. It is universally used for any of them. Once you download, easy to install steps. Once you're done with that, you can just open up Sublime Text. Once you open up file, you need to say the open folder. Open the particular folder that you want. Let's say projects. Sorry, not projects. In desktop, I need to go to Python_recordings. So Python_recordings, let's say, if I go to Python_recordings, in that, just select this particular folder, you will get your Sublime Text opened up to this particular folder. Is that very clear? Over here, I can just open a new file, and let me say, this is going to be my second.py. Oh, sorry, I'm going to save this. Let me say, save this second.py. Okay, now I can see all my Python files inside this particular folder, and that makes this an ideal editor for me. Second.py, and just run, let's say print. Yeah, this is my second Python script. Of course, we are going to do much more than this. This is just an introduction. Okay, going ahead, go back to my command prompt. Again, write Python space second.py. What is my Python file name? Say enter, and there you have. This is my second Python script. Hope you understood. What am I going to use? I'm going to use Sublime Text for writing a program. Okay, open the folder to the particular folder that you have all your Python files. Okay, there you can write whatever you want. Come back to your command prompt, navigate to the folder where you have your particular file by saying cd, change directory to this particular folder, then go back to that particular folder, then say python space whatever is your file, say enter, and there you are. This is how you have your Python code executed. Hope you enjoyed this. Of course, this is going to be for a beginner level, this particular video. We have much more coming ahead. Stay tuned, enjoy. Ask Elijah. Anything you want in the comments. See you.